Good evening, all the viewers. I'm Professor Potiga Vinayak, working as an assistant professor in Computer Science and Engineering Department. On behalf of Nbnscoe and the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, I would like to welcome I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all the technocrats who has joined live with us to brush up their technical skills. This is day 3, and today we have with us our proud alumni, Mr. Suraj Patil, who is working as an associate technical support, tech support, and at Red Hat Linux. Welcome, Suraj. I also
Thank you, sir.
welcome
Thank you.
Professor Amol Pathak, HOD CSE, along with Professor B.R. Solunke and Professor S.T. Gurme sir, and all the coordinators. For the starting of this session, I would like to request Amol Phatak sir, HOD CSE, to say a few words. Hello, over to you, sir.
Hello, good evening to all. Hey, I again welcome all the student and all the participant, those who are watching this session on the YouTube live. On behalf of our Nbnscoe Senior College of Engineering and Computer Science and Engineering Department, okay, we are very happy and we extend our welcome to our today's guest, Mr. Suraj Patil. I want to mention in this in this session is nowadays the students at engineering, those who are doing their engineering in computer science engineering and on other branches, in the first 2 years itself, they are knowing the different technologies, different domains, and they have started deciding, or they start deciding their interest, and want to become a master in which technology. Okay, we are having one of the very good example of the same is our today's speaker, Mr. Suraj Patil. I know in the second year and third year itself, he decided to have or passionate about the Unix operating system, Linux operating system, and want to contribute into the Red Hat Linux. And today we are happy that he is working into the his dream company Red Hat Linux. And at the same time, today he is going to explain how we also, or every student, can contribute into the open source technologies as well as related to Red Hat Linux. It's a great thing that at the student level, in the first 2 3 years itself, to decide the technology or the domain of our interest, and start achieving the mastering into it. I hope this seminar or this session will help every student to decide their domain and start working on it. So I'm really happy with the effort which are taken by our all the staff members of the department for arranging this. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now the time has come to get it introduced or let know our today's guest, and for that I'll request Miss Nikita Shetty to introduce our today's guest. Over to you, Nikita.
Yes, sir. Good evening to all. This is Nikita Shetty, and I'm here to introduce Mr. Suraj Patil on this day, who will guide us on how to contribute to open source Linux and OpenStack. He has completed his 12th from Sangameshwar College, Solapur. Later, he completed his Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Science from Nbnscoe College in the year 2018. He has put in a lot of efforts in various projects and achieved success. He has built own operating system from scratch. He has also built home automation system using RPI, using Python. He is a proactive and confident person. He has a keen knowledge about OS, Linux, Windows, Unix. It is a great pleasure to have you here with us. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of Seagat Institutes. We are looking forward for your wonderful session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nikita, for the introduction. Now I request Suraj to present himself. Suraj, over to you.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Nikita. It's a very heavy introduction about me. First of all, Thank you so much, HOD sir, Potikar sir, Solanke sir, and Joshi ma'am, for giving me this golden opportunity to share some of my knowledge with you all. Thank you so much, sir and ma'am. Okay, so uh, let's start our today's session. I will share my screen. Please let me know. It's
Can you
visible.
please click on the share screen button over there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's visible now.
Okay, sounds good. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, so
Just maximize the slides.
just okay. So our today's topic is how to contribute to Linux and OpenStack. So about me, my name is Suraj Patil. I'm 2018 pass out student from CSE department. I'm an open source contributor. Kickstart my career with one of my dream organization, working with OpenStack R&D team. Nowadays, I'm working as an ATSC engineer with Red Hat. From 1st of July, I have been promoted as an associate technical support engineer, but this time the product is different. Okay, so here is the agenda. What we will be learn in this session. First, history of operating system in Marathi, how Red Hat works, how to contribute to open source project, and what is meant by an OpenStack, how you engage with OpenStack, and last but not the least is a demo of OpenStack. ओके, सो असं म्हटलं जातं की जी व्यक्ती त्याचा इतिहास विचारते ती व्यक्ती ना त्याचं वर्तमान घडवू शकते ना भविष्य काय. सो आपल्याला इतिहास माहीत असणं फार इम्पॉर्टंट आहे. सो व्हॉट इज मीन बाय अन ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम? अ सॉफ्टवेअर विच वर्क फॉर अ एंड युजर, or more precisely, operating system is equal to kernel and kernel is equal to operating system. According to Carr Christian, the definition of operating system is process have a life and file have a space. कॅरी क्रिश्चियन हा एक फादर होता ज्याने जगातली पहिली ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम बिल्ड करण्याचा प्रयत्न केला, बट ते त्याला जमलं नाही. त्यांनी ही डेफिनेशन महाभारतातून इन्स्पायर होऊन दिली होती. महाभारतात श्रीकृष्णाने अर्जुनाला सांगितलं होतं की आत्म्याला शरीर लागतं आणि शरीराला जागा. सो त्याच पद्धतीने लिनक्स आणि युनिक्समध्ये प्रत्येक गोष्ट ही फाईल असते. ज्या गोष्टी फाईल नसतात त्या असतात प्रोसेसेस. सो एव्हरीथिंग इज अ फाईल इन लिनक्स अँड युनिक्स एन्व्हायरमेंट. सो एरा आहे 1960-70 सालचा. त्यावेळेस जगात ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम नावाचा कन्सेप्टच नव्हता. सो हनीवेल, आय होप हनीवेल कंपनी सगळ्यांना माहिती असेल, हनीवेलच्या कस्टमरची रिक्वायरमेंट होती की त्यांना असं एक सॉफ्टवेअर हवं होतं की जो थोडा वेळ त्यांच्या हार्डवेअरचा टाइम वाटून देईल त्यांच्या ॲप्लिकेशनला. सो हनीवेलने AT&Tला कॉन्टॅक्ट केला, AT&T बेलला, AT&Tने MITला कॉन्टॅक्ट केला. सो कारण त्या काळात फक्त AT&T आणि MITकडे चांगले प्रोग्रामर होते. AT&Tचे काही चांगले प्रोग्रामर्स आणि MITचे टीचर्स आणि स्टुडंट इन्व्हॉल्व्ह झाले जगातली पहिली ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम बिल्ड करायला. आणि मल्टिपल एंटिटीज एकत्र आल्या आणि त्यांनी या प्रोजेक्टला सुरुवात केली, म्हणून त्याला नाव ठेवण्यात आलं मल्टिक्स. अशा पद्धतीने प्रोजेक्ट सुरू झाला. 2 वर्ष गेले, 3 वर्ष गेले, बट त्या प्रोजेक्टला काही सक्सेस मिळाला नाही. सो इव्हेंच्युअली हनीवेलने या प्रोजेक्टमधून बॅकआउट केलं आणि AT&Tने सुद्धा फंडिंग थांबवलं. बट AT&Tमध्ये एक एम्प्लॉय होता, जसं नाव होतं केन थॉम्सन. हा होता केन थॉम्सन. त्यांनी AT&Tच्या मॅनेजमेंटला कन्व्हिन्स करण्याचा प्रयत्न केला की आपण मला थोडासा टाइम द्या, मी आणि MITचे स्टुडंट आम्ही हा प्रोजेक्ट कम्प्लीट करू. आपण असं काहीतरी करतो की जगात आत्तापर्यंत कोणीच केलेलं नाही आहे. सो मला थोडा टाइम द्या. बट AT&Tला त्यातून बिझनेस दिसत नव्हता. सो त्यांनी त्याला पॉझिटिव्ह रिस्पॉन्स दिला नाही. बट हिस्ट्री रिपीट होते. 3-4 वर्षांनी AT&Tला स्वतःच तशा सॉफ्टवेअरची रिक्वायरमेंट लागते. सो त्यांनी केन थॉम्सनला कॉन्टॅक्ट केला आणि केन थॉम्सन रेडी झाला तो करायला. बट त्यांनी एक कंडिशन ठेवली की मला ते सेम हार्डवेअर आणून द्या की जे हनीवेलने तुम्हाला दिलं होतं, PDP-7 नावाचं. सो केन थॉम्सनला ते हार्डवेअर मिळालं. सो केन थॉम्सन सकाळचे 9 तास त्याच्या AT&Tच्या प्रोजेक्टवर काम करायचं आणि रात्रीचे 9 तास तो त्याची ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम लिहायला बसायचा. सो असं करत करत 1 वर्षात त्यांनी स्वतःची ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम बनवली. आणि मल्टिकच्या लोकांना टीच करण्यासाठी त्यांनी ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीमचं नाव ठेवलं युनिक्स, UNICX. बट कॉन्फरन्समध्ये लोकांनी लिहून घेतलं युनिक्स. अशा पद्धतीने युनिक्स जगासमोर आलं. युनिक्सचा सोर्स कोड ओपन सोर्स केला त्याला आणि खूप साऱ्या लोकांना तो सोर्स कोड आवडला. खूप साऱ्या लोकांना त्यात कॉन्ट्रीब्यूट करायचं होतं. बट प्रॉब्लेम असा होता की तो सोर्स कोड होता असेंब्ली लँग्वेजमध्ये आणि आपल्याला माहिती आहे असेंब्ली लँग्वेज किती टफ आहे समजून घ्यायला. सो लोकांनी त्याला सजेशन्स दिले की आम्हाला कॉन्ट्रीब्यूट करायचं, पण या कोडचं तू काहीतरी कन्वर्जन कर. सो केन थॉम्सनचा एक मित्र होता जो MIT मध्ये शिक्षक होता, त्याचं नाव डेनिस रिचे. सो त्याने त्याला कॉन्टॅक्ट केला आणि त्याला सांगितलं की माझ्या युनिकच्या सोर्स कोडचं तू ह्युमन अंडरस्टँडिंग लँग्वेजमध्ये कन्व्हर्जन करता येईल का तुला. सो डेनिस रिचने त्याला रिप्लाय केला की लेट्स गिव्ह इट अ ट्राय. आणि कोडचं कन्व्हर्जन करता करता त्याला एक गोष्ट लक्षात आली की तिने एक नवीन प्रोग्रामिंग लँग्वेजला जन्म दिला, ती म्हणजे सी. अशा पद्धतीने सी जगासमोर आली. युनिक्स मधून सी आलं का सी मधून युनिक्स आलं हे कोणी सांगू शकत नाही. सीचं पर्पजच ते आहे की ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम बनवणं. सी बनलीच त्यासाठी. अजून सुद्धा जगातली प्रत्येक ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम ही सी आणि असेंब्ली लँग्वेजमध्ये लिहिली. सो परत एकदा तो ओपन सोर्स करण्यात आला सोर्स कोड. खूप साऱ्या लोकांना तो यावेळेस समजला, खूप साऱ्या लोकांनी कॉन्ट्रीब्यूट करायला स्टार्ट केलं. युनिव्हर्सिटी ऑफ कॅलिफोर्नियामध्ये 2 मित्र होते, एकाचं नाव होतं बिल जॉय आणि दुसऱ्याचं विनोद कोसला. त्यांना सुद्धा ओपन सोर्स युनिक्समध्ये कॉन्ट्रीब्यूट करायचं होतं. सो त्यांनी तो युनिक्सचा सोर्स कोड क्लोन केला आणि त्यात फक्त 2 लाईन चेंज केला. त्यांनी युनिक्सला नाव ठेवलं BSD युनिक्स आणि हा लोगो त्याला त्यांनी ठेवला. BSD स्टँड्स फॉर बार्कले सॉफ्टवेअर डिस्ट्रीब्युशन युनिक्स. सो अशा पद्धतीने BSD सुद्धा जगासमोर आलं. हिस्ट्री पुढे कंटिन्यू होते. MIT मध्ये अजून एक शिक्षक होतं ज्याचं नाव होतं रिचर्ड मॅथ्यू स्टॉलमन. आता ज्या स्टुडंटला कंपायलर कन्स्ट्रक्शन आणि मॅथमॅटिक्स शिकवायचा. सो एक दिवस रिचर्ड स्टॉलमनने कॅनॉन कंपनीचा प्रिंटर विकत आणला आणि त्यांनी त्याच्या स्टुडंटला तो प्रिंटर काम कसा करतो हे पूर्ण हार्डवेअर एक्सप्लेन केलं. बट त्याच्या स्टुडंटची अशी रिक्वायरमेंट होती की त्यांना तो ऍक्च्युअल सोर्स कोड बघायचा होता. युनिक्स आणि लिनक्समध्ये प्रिंटिंगसाठी स्पेशल प्रोटोकॉल यूज केला जातो, ज्याला कप्स म्हटलं जातं, कॉमन युनिक्स प्रिंटिंग सर्व्हर. सो तो सोर्स कोड त्याच्याकडे नव्हता. सो त्याने कॅनॉन कंपनीला मेल केला की मी रिचर्ड स्टॉलमन, मी तुमच्या कॅनॉन कंपनीचा हार्डवेअर विकत घेतलंय, प्रिंटर विकत घेतलंय. सो मला माझ्या स्टुडंटला त्याचा सोर्स कोड एक्सप्लेन करायचं, मला सोर्स कोड द्या. तर कॅनॉनच्या इंजिनियरचा त्याला असा रिप्लाय आला की यू आर ओनर ऑफ दॅट हार्डवेअर नॉट अ सॉफ्टवेअर. सो ही गोष्ट रिचर्ड स्टॉलमनच्या मनाला फार लागली. तो मागा आला आणि त्यांनी जगाला एक मेल लिहिला, मी रिचर्ड स्टॉलमन, मी जगातली पहिली फ्री ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम बनवायला जातोय आणि जी कम्प्लिटली ओपन सोर्स प्रिन्सिपलवर बेस्ड असेल. सो त्यांनी रिचर्ड स्टॉलमन हा युनिकचा फार हेट करायचा. त्याने एक फाउंडेशन स्थापन केलं, त्याला नाव दिलं त्यांनी GNU. G स्टँड फॉर GNU, N स्टँड फॉर नॉट, U स्टँड फॉर युनिक्स. नावात रिकर्शन ठेवलं त्यांनी, GNU नॉट युनिक्स. अगेन G स्टँड फॉर GNU नॉट युनिक्स. अशा पद्धतीने GNU ची स्थापना झाली. ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम बनवायला ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीमसाठी लागणाऱ्या ज्या गोष्टी आहेत, कंपायलर, लिंकर, लोडर, असेंबलर, एडिटर, ह्या प्रत्येक गोष्ट त्याने लिहिली. बट जो मेन कंपोनंट असतो, जो कर्नल, तो त्याला लिहिता आला नाही. सो नेदरलँडमध्ये एक शिक्षक होता ज्याचं नाव होतं एन्बन्स्को. त्यांनी त्याच्या स्टुडंटसाठी एक मिनी ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम लिहिली होती, त्याला त्याने नाव ठेवलं होतं मिनिक्स. कारण तोपर्यंत AT&Tने युनिक्सचा सोर्स कोड हा क्लोज सोर्स केला होता. तर हा व्यक्ती त्याच्या स्टुडंटला लाईन बाय लाईन सोर्स कोड एक्सप्लेन करायचा की युनिक्सचं आर्किटेक्चर काय, युनिक्सचा कर्नल काम कसं करतो, कुठले डेटा स्ट्रक्चर यूज केले जातात. आणि त्याचा जो कर्नल होता तो मायक्रो कर्नल टाईप होता. सो ही गोष्ट रिचर्ड स्टॉलमनला कळाली. सो रिचर्ड स्टॉलमनने अँड्रॉ कॉन्टॅक्ट केला की मी जगातली पहिली फ्री ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम बनवतोय. सो माझ्याकडे स्केलेटन रेडी आहे, पण जो मेन पार्ट आहे कर्नल तो मला लिहिता आला नाही, तर तुझा कर्नल मला देशील का. सो अँड्रॉ सांगितलं की माझी ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम हे फक्त माझ्या स्टुडंट ओरिएंटेड आहे, तर मी ती पब्लिकसाठी अवेलेबल नाही करू देऊ शकत. सो अगेन GNU ची पहिली ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम बनण्याआधीच थांबली. याच अँड्रॉ एक स्टुडंट होता ज्याचं नाव होतं लायनस टोवर्ड. 1991 मध्ये सेकंड इयर मध्ये असताना लायनस टोवर्डने एक जगाला मेल लिहिला, मी लायनस टोवर्ड, मी जगातली पहिली फ्री ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम बनवायला जातोय जस्ट फॉर अ हॉबी. आणि 1992 मध्ये त्याने कर्नलचा पहिला 0.0.1 हा सोर्स कोड रिलीज केला. ही गोष्ट रिचर्ड स्टॉलमनला कळाली. रिचर्ड स्टॉलमनने अगेन लायनक्सला कॉन्टॅक्ट केला आणि लायनक्स त्याचा कर्नल द्यायला रेडी झाला. अशा पद्धतीने जगासमोर लिनक्स पहिल्यांदा आलं. आपण मोस्टली लिनक्स म्हणतो, बट ऍक्च्युअली लिनक्स हा कर्नल आहे आणि GNUच्या जे काही शेल्स जे आहेत ते GNU प्रोव्हाइड करते. इट्स लाईक अ GNU/लिनक्स. सो मी बऱ्याच वेळा बघितलं की लोक सांगतात लिनक्स आणि युनिक्स एक आहे, लिनक्स आणि युनिक्स एक आहे, बट तसं नाही आहे ऍक्च्युअली. लिनक्सची फिलॉसॉफी वेगळी आणि युनिक्सची फिलॉसॉफी वेगळी आहे. लिनक्स आणि युनिक्सचे जे कॉन्ट्रीब्युटर ते एकमेकांना हेट करतात, कारण त्याचं पर्पज पण तसं आहे. युनिक्सच्या अशा काही कमांड्स आहेत ज्या लिनक्सवर रन होत नाही. एक वेल नोन एक्झाम्पल देतो युनिक्स डिस्ट्रीब्युशनचं तुम्हाला. ऍपलची मॅक OS, तर तुम्ही ऍपलचं मॅकबुक परचेस केला तर तुम्ही कोणतीच ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम त्याच्यावर इन्स्टॉल नाही करू शकत मॅक OS शिवाय. सो दिस इज हाऊ युनिक्स इज. Linux and Onion has one thing common, that more deeper you go, it leads to tears. That much difficult is Linux. ओके सो आय होप सगळ्यांनी हिस्ट्री कळाली असेल आणि आवडली असेल आणि इन्स्पायर केली असेल. मी जेव्हा जेव्हा हिस्ट्री सांगतो ते तेव्हा मी स्वतः सुद्धा इन्स्पायर होतो. सो व्हॉट इज मीन बाय ओपन सोर्स? ओपन सोर्सची डेफिनेशन काय जी मला इन्स्पायर करते? मराठीमध्ये विंदा करीमकरांची एक कविता आहे, देणाऱ्याने देत जावे घेणाऱ्याने घेत जावे, देणाऱ्याने देत जावे घेणाऱ्याने घेत जावे, हिरव्या पिवळ्या माळावरून हिरवी पिलवी शाल घ्यावी, सह्याद्रीच्या कड्यावरून छाती एवढी ढाल घ्यावी, देणाऱ्याने देत जावे घेणाऱ्याने घेत जावे, घेता घेता एक दिवस देणाऱ्याचे हातच घ्यावे. जर तुम्हाला ही कविता कळली तर ओपन सोर्स कल्चरचं इकोसिस्टम तुम्हाला कळेल. सो दिस इज हाऊ ओपन सोर्स वर्क. सो in open source culture, we believe that sharing knowledge is the most fundamental act of friendship, and we believe in that. So what is meant as software freedom? Okay, what is meant by software freedom? The freedom to run the program as you wish, the freedom to study how program works, the freedom to redistribute copies so you can help others, the freedom to redistribute copies of your modified version to others. So how the open source ecosystem will work? So open source ecosystem काम कशी करते? So there are two pillars involved in open source ecosystem. First one is a upstream and the second one is a downstream. Upstream is nothing but cutting edge technology, and downstream is nothing but a stable release of any software which contains more reliability, more stability, and it also contains some support. So I will give example which is specifically related to. As you can see, the upstream projects like kernel, web browser, security tools, desktop, display server, software package manager. So Fedora is an upstream project for RHEL. RHEL is nothing but Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So Fedora has 6-month release cycle. That means whenever the new changes come in a kernel package, when Firefox, when security tools, first it will shift into Fedora, then it is tested, and after testing, then it is shipped to RHEL. That means Fedora follows 6-month release cycle. That means like Fedoraचे दर 6 महिन्याला नवीन OS वर्जन रिलीज होतं आणि Fedora ऑलवेज कटिंग एज टेक्नॉलॉजी. लिनक्स इंडस्ट्रीमध्ये तुम्ही जे काही नवीन बघाल, जे काही मॉडिफिकेशन बघाल, ते पहिला शिप होतो फेडोरामध्ये आणि 1.5 ते 2 वर्षानंतर मग रेड हॅटचं नवीन वर्जन मार्केटमध्ये येतं. नाउडेज RHEL 8 is available. Okay, so these are the some upstream project and downstream project. As I said earlier, Fedora is an upstream project for RHEL. Overt is an upstream project for Red Hat virtualization. RDO is an upstream project for Red Hat OpenStack platform where I was contributing. This is the RDO. And Gluster Chef is also an upstream project for storage. So these are the some upstream and downstream projects. Okay, so just give me 1 second. I will share another slide. Please let me know it's visible.
It's visible.
Okay. Good. So what is meant by actual open source? A method of community-based software development. A method of software development which involves transparency and collaboration. Things you can do with an open source: view the source code, fix bug, add new features, and make changes to the projects. So how you can start contributing in open source project? So first you have to choose a project. Suppose if I want to contribute to kernel, if I want to contribute to Fedora, if I want to contribute to OpenStack, then I have to choose the project, and then I have to search for the language which is used for that software. I know that for OpenStack is completely developed and shipped by Red Hat in a Python programming language. So you have to theoretically at least you have to know the Python, and that's it. You can start contributing. It's not any rocket science. Every open source project has its own GitHub repository. So, and there are 3 files also present: the readme.md, license.md, and contributing.md. The readme.md is nothing but how to build and use that project. License.md is nothing but terms and conditions. And contributing is nothing but rules on contributing. So how you can contribute, what are the requirements, what packages you have, what is the environment you will require for contributing. So the making your first contribution, how you can start contribution. There are 2 ways. First one is a raising an issue, and the second one is a contributing a code. I will refer you, first try raising an issue, report a problem, report a bug, suggest a feature you feel is missing, and gap in documentation. If you are good at programming, then you can start contributing via code. Okay, so I will show another side. Please let me know it's visible. I hope I'm pretty much clear. If you don't understand anything, please let me know before starting our main topic. Okay, so here it is, cloud computing. As we know, the entire cloud computing is based on three model: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So what is meant by infrastructure? OpenStack is based on this model. OpenStack is a cloud computing operating system that controls large pool of compute, storage, and networking resource throughout the data center, and all managed and provisioned through the APIs with a common authentication mechanism. So OpenStack and AWS are the same cloud provider. We say that, which is based on infrastructure as a service. In infrastructure as a service, what we provide virtual machine, we provide some storage, we provide some networking resources, and that's it. And you can deploy your application on your cloud. The birth of OpenStack. In 2010, Rackspace and NASA collaboratively started one project, and they have given the name OpenStack. Initially, these two organizations are involved. Then in 2011, Ubuntu is involved. Then Red Hat is also involved. And this is how the OpenStack development is started. So this is the architectural view, how OpenStack look. The first service. So basically OpenStack एक cloud provider आहे जो खूप साऱ्या इंडिव्हिज्युअल प्रोजेक्ट सब म्हणून एक क्लाउड तयार झालेला आहे. ओपनस्टॅकच्या अंडर खूप सारे इंडिव्हिज्युअल प्रोजेक्ट्स आहेत, मी तुम्हाला सांगतो पुढे. सो फर्स्ट वन इज अ डॅशबोर्ड सर्व्हिस. Service name is a dashboard. It's basically GUI purpose. The second service is an identity service. The third service is a networking service. The fourth service is a block storage service. And the fifth one is a compute service. Compute service is a heart of OpenStack. That means if I want to create one virtual machine without installing any kind of hypervisor, I cannot create any virtual machine. So hypervisor is there. Okay. So the hypervisor part and VM creation part will take care by these service. So the sixth one is an image storage service. The seventh one is an object storage. The eighth one is a telemetry service, and the ninth one is an orchestration. Let's keep this 8 and 9 service away for just time being, because these two are not mandatory services, but the rest of the 7 are mandatory services. Okay, so the core project involves in OpenStack. As I said, OpenStack it's like a multiple individual project collaborate each other, and the OpenStack cloud is built. The project name is a Horizon. The service which I'm talking is a dashboard. So it's like the purpose of the Horizon is to provide a dashboard, provide a simple self-service UI for an end user or a cloud administrator to manage or define the user, tenant, and quota. This second project is known as a Nova. As I said, it's a core compute service which is used for hypervisor that run your virtual machine. It supports multiple hypervisor like KVM, Zen, LXC, Hyper-V, and EXI. And the third service, it's a Glance. Project name is a Glance, and the service name is an image service. Suppose if I want to install any operating system, what is my primary requirement? Obviously, the ISO file, which contains the kernel, which contains the bootloader. So image file is must to install any operating system. So that part will be taken care by this image service. It store and retrieve the disk images. It support RAW, QCOW2, VMDK. It's a format. It's an image format. Okay, so the fourth one is a Swift. It's an object storage. Swift is a project name, and the storage name is a Swift. It's for an object storage service. It's similar to Amazon S3 service. So I will give you one example. Like we usually store our data on our Google Drive, Google Photos. So Backend Google is also using object storage. Object storage is nothing but they have divided your chunk of data into object, and that can be accessed through HTTP protocols or some REST API. So I hope we know the different types of storages like object storage, block storage, ephemeral storage. This is the object storage. So the fourth one, which is most important, its a project name is a Neutron, and the services is a networking. Earlier, the Neutron project is also known as a quantum project. Suppose if I have a VM and the VM does not contain any internet connection, or if does not contain any firewall, it does not contain any IP table, then what is the use of that VM? Nothing. I cannot deploy my application on that virtual machine. It will not accessible to outside the user. So the networking part will take care by this Neutron service. It's provide you a framework for software-defined network, plug-in architecture. That means you can allow integration of hardware and software-based network solutions. The fifth one is a Cinder. Cinder is a project name. The service name is a Volume. Basically, Cinder is used for a block storage. That means the persistent storage. If I have deleted my VM, still I have the access of my data on my local hard disk. But before that, you have to mount that partition on your local hard disk. Then you will get the backup. So this service is basically used for a persistent storage. It's similar to Amazon EBS service. Okay. So the most important service is also Keystone is a project name, and it's an identity service. Identity service is a very crucial service in OpenStack because each and every services will always interact with identity service. Until and unless identity service will provide authentication and authorization, none of the services will run. So this is the most important. Please be remember. Common authentication framework is used to manage users, tenant, and roles. And its backend technologies also uses SQL, PALM, and LDAP. LDAP is a lightweight directory access protocol. Okay, so I hope this part is clear. Please let me know if you have any doubts or if I'm going too fast, because the rest part is a demo. So we'll understand how OpenStack work and how OpenStack actually looks like. Okay. Sounds good. How you can deploy OpenStack? So there are some requirements. One virtual machine I have uses here is CentOS 7. So sorry, CentOS 8 with a 40 GB of space and 4 GB of RAM. And DevStack installer I'm using. Basically, installer is nothing but it will help you to install. It will help you to deploy your cloud on your local machine. So I'm opening this link. Just give me 1 second. It's a visible, the DevStack link?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, sounds good. As I said, DevStack is an installer which will help you to deploy cloud on your local system. So just give me 1 second. Yeah, this is my VM, as you can see. This is a CentOS 8 version I'm using. Don't worry if you don't understand anything. At the end of the session, I will make sure you will understand. Okay, so I'm taking SSH connection of that VM. Okay. So what is a DevStack? It's a quick start. What you have to do, first you have to install any Linux distribution. I'm using CentOS. You can use any distribution. Then you have to create a stack user. It is recommended because OpenStack deployment sometime will crash your own operating system. So it's recommended to create a stack user. Then you have to then you have to log in with that stack user. Then you have to clone the OpenStack DevStack repository, which contains some script, which contains some source code, which will help you to deploy OpenStack. Then you have to go to that directory, and then you have to create one file, which is local.conf, which is very important. If you not created this file, your OpenStack deployment will never ever be completed. So as I see, I already cloned that repository and I am in OpenStack directory. As here is my local.conf file. As you can see, it's an admin password secret and admin password is, it's just an environment variable. Okay, so that's it. The major part is done. Then you have to just start one script, which is a stack.sh. Okay. So what this script will do, this script will go devstack git repository. It will start cloning each and every project. For example, Keystone, Keystore, image service, glance, and all this repository will clone. It will compile the source code. It will create some binaries, and it will create some demo project. It will create some demo user, and eventually your OpenStack deployment will be done. It will take around 50 to 20 minutes to complete the deployment. So it's based on your processor and how much space you have available. And the most important thing, while the stack.sh is executing, it first cloned the Keystone source code, and at the last, it cloned the Horizon source code.
Suraj, meanwhile, can you explain what are the benefits of using OpenStack Cloud?
Yeah, any cloud, OpenStack is very user friendly. First of all, OpenStack has a very good support available, and if you use OpenStack, then your deployment will be very easy as compared to AWS.
Okay. So same procedure can be applied to AWS?
No. AWS has a different approach, and OpenStack has a different approach.
Okay.
But eventually, they both following the same principle. They both rely on infrastructure as a service.
Okay. And what is the exactly identity service in OpenStack?
Identity service is nothing but it will manage the authentication. Suppose I have created one project and I have created multiple users, and I have to give some rights to the, suppose there are 3 users and I want to give the right for a first user to create a virtual machine, but rest of the 2 I don't want to give any right to create a virtual machine. So the keystone part will take care of authentication, the user, what kind of permission he have, the services, how the service will interact with each other. This part will take care by the keystone.
Okay, so we are using OpenStack to deploy, and we are using Horizon as a.
Yeah, Horizon is nothing but a dashboard. Like
Okay.
I will share you once the deployment is done. I will show you how the Horizon look like.
Yes.
It's just a GUI.
Okay.
आणि मला सांगायला आनंद सुद्धा होईल की रिसेंटली वोडाफोन आणि आयडिया यांचं 5G इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर रेडहॅटकडे आलेलं आहे आणि त्यांचं जे इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर आहे ते ओपन स्टॅकवर बिल्ड होते. आपण फोन पे, भीम हे ऍप्लिकेशन यूज करतो ते सगळे ओपन स्टॅकवर डिप्लॉय.
ओके.
OpenStack, each and every services are written only Python. That means if you want to contribute in OpenStack, at least you know the basic of Python, how to code in Python. That's the only requirement. If you don't understand Linux, that's okay. But if you want to contribute, if you want to go OpenStack as a developer, then you have a very bright future.
Yes.
Which are the companies using the OpenStack technologies?
There are lots of companies there. There are lots of from Geo to our Bhim UPI provider, our Indian government, even Rail. Indian Rail also uses the OpenStack. HDFC Bank is uses. Then I think Swift banking system is also OpenStack. So there are multiple users.
Okay.
And all the services are provided. OpenStack supports only infrastructure as a service.
Yeah. Nowadays, OpenStack project is much bigger. What we do, we also involve platform as a service. We have a one product called OpenShift, which is based on platform as a service principle. So we provide the entire cloud stack for our customer. For example, for Vodafone and Idea, we provide entire cloud. Like we provide infrastructure, we provide platform, we also provide some software.
And what is the exact procedure to access OpenStack?
First, you have to deploy the OpenStack.
Okay.
And after deploying, you will see IP address, and then you have to just paste your IP address on a browser. Then it will prompt you some username and password. Okay. As I said, in local.conf, I'm mentioning some password, admin password. Admin is a username and password I'm giving a secret. So once you log in, you will see the whole idea. I think it's almost done. Yeah. Oh my God. So what did it say? No process form. Okay.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
there is a question from Gulnath Thakur ma'am. Keystone is identity service in OpenStack.
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you explain in short about it?
Keystone म्हणजे काय, बेसिकली एक सर्व्हिस आहे जी तुमच्या ऑथेंटिकेशन, फॉर एक्झाम्पल एका क्लासमध्ये 10 मुले आणि कीस्टोन म्हणजे त्या क्लासचे टीचर आहेत की कोणत्या मुलांनी काय केलं पाहिजे, कोणत्या मुलांनी कुठला सब्जेक्ट शिकला पाहिजे, कोणत्या मुलाला कसले ऍक्सेस द्यायचा, कोणत्या मुलाला मॉनिटर करायचं, हे जे काही मॉनिटरिंग करण्याचं काम आहे ते कीस्टोन करते. इट्स अ सिम्पल बट इट्स व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट.
All these services are free?
Yes. All the services are free.
Like Amazon?
Yeah, OpenStack, you can download, you can deploy it freely. But if you want a support, suppose there is some error you're facing, you are not able to create a virtual machine, then you have to raise a ticket to Red Hat, and the Red Hat engineer will troubleshoot your problem. The subscription is a paid. Basically, we Red Hat, what we follow actually, we sell our every software free of cost. Linux is just one part. We provide a cloud, we provide middleware software, we provide a enterprise Linux, we provide some applications which is related to Cloud 4. And all this software you will download, you will install free of cost. But if you face any issue, then you have to raise a ticket. And for that, you have to subscribe your machine with us. Okay, so this is the horizon, as you can see. This is the GUI, as I say. Just give me 1 second, I will allow some.
Yes.
Okay, so it's just a IP table rule. What I'm doing here is, whatever the incoming connection coming for this, my Ethernet card, it's a ENS0, will be accepted. If I don't do this IP table rule, so my GUI will not access on a other network. It will only access in my VM. And my VM is just, as you can see, it's like a minimal OS.
Yes.
It's just a command line OS.
Yes.
So that's why I write this IP table rule here. Okay, so here's your login, admin, and the password. So this is the pictorial view. As I said, this is the horizon. This is the GUI, as you can see. As you can see, there is an instance, virtual CPU, RAM, volume, networking. So this is the GUI. As you can see, by default there are 3 projects available. At the time of deployment, OpenStack created this project, created some users also. I will show you. Currently, I'm in demo user. Okay. So what we do, so if you want to create a virtual machine, so as you can see, here is a launch instant prompt. So there are some mandatory things. Instance name. Instance is nothing but your virtual machine. I'm giving a test. Then source, where I want to install that operating system. Flavor is nothing but your virtual hardware configuration. On physical machine, we always say, I have a 4 GB of RAM, I have a i7 processor, I have i3 processor. So flavor is nothing but your virtual hardware. So I will take any of the flavor. Networking, as I said, which is a very important, and I'm taking a private network. That's it. These 3 are the mandatory things. You can create any instance in 2 ways. The first one, the easiest one I'm showing you right now, is a GUI. You can also create this same with the help of CLI, command line interface. I will show you that also. Launch instance. So it's what is? Okay, source ID is missing. Sorry about this. I'm not using the Cirrus. Cirrus is a OS, as I said, glance service, image service. So this is the by default OS image.
Yes.
Okay, so keep it. Configuration is nothing but there are some requirement. If I want to create a virtual machine, but in that virtual machine, if I want to already install some packages pre-installed. For example, if I want to install my web server already, so you can write here a bash script. For example, you have to write a bin bash, and it's like an echo message. Okay, I'm installing HTTP package also. HTTP package, that's it. And then you have to type the command yum install httpd -y. Okay. So I don't have any external network right now. So the package will not install on my VM. But I'm showing as just a demo. That's it, and you can launch the instance. Hardly 5 to 10 seconds, your VM is ready to access. As you can see, the spawning process is already started. And the most important thing I forgot. So download OpenRC file. That's around. This is a bash script, is nothing but your environment variable. So if I want to look in a demo project, what are the activities are going, what are the instances are running, what are the images are available. For this, you need this RC file. You have to create this file, whatever naming convention, whatever you want to give, but the extension should be .sh. Okay, and then you have to store this. Okay. OpenStack server list. As we have recently created one server test, as you can see, the test server is available. Its ID, the state, the private IP address, the MAC address, the image which I have used to create this VM. It's a Suraj. You can create any images. For example, RHEL, Fedora, Ubuntu, Kubuntu, whatever. The flavor name which I have used. And this is how the OpenStack look like. I hope this part is clear for everyone.
Yes. So instance is ready.
Yes.
Now the instance is ready.
So
also.
you can,
So
yeah.
on Ceros.
Even you can access this instance. You can access this VM. For this, you have to allow some rules, security rules, to get the access of that. If I want to get the SSH of this VM, then I have to allow the security group rule. As you can see, here is a manage rule, add rule. I have to allow this SSH port CRDR000 add, and okay, it's already exit. Yeah, as you can see, it's a 22 and 18.
Yes.
So what industry will do, they have created multiple instance and they log in this instance and they deploy their application on this instance.
Yes.
As you can see, there is no limit to create any instance. Until and unless you have a very good hardware, you can create multiple instances. Yeah, I would like to say how you can create instance using a CLI. So OpenStack server create, it's a command. As you can see, if I press enter, it will show me the options which are available. So it will show me the these are the optional parameters and these are the positional parameters. That means this is a compulsory and this is not compulsory. Okay, so if the command is OpenStack server create, server create, then what are the three things I require? First, I need, okay, so I will do image list. Image, I want to create a server. Then OpenStack flavor list, which hardware I have to use for my VM, and OpenStack network list. That's it. So there is a command called OpenStack server create. -image. I am mentioning image path. Image, you can also mention image name or ID. It will take both. I'm mentioning ID. Then I have to mention a flavor. I will mention flavor ID 2. Okay, it doesn't matter. Then network, mentioning a public private network. Okay, so that's it. And my server name, I am giving testing 2. As you can see, the server is created by manual. The server name is a testing. The state of this VM is currently in build state. The image I have used this, the ID is this. So if I look for OpenStack server show, and if I paste the ID, okay, you will see it's a current in active state. And if I go to a GUI and if I go in instance, yeah, you can see the testing 2 is available.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to access this VM outside of your network, then you have to assign some floating IP. I hope floating IP you know. Floating IP is nothing but it's a mediator for your router and your private network. The request which are come from this VM, it will route through a floating IP through your ISP.
Okay.
You can assign through GUI. Here is an option. You can see associate floating IP. You can select and floating IP. You have to use always a public network because you have to access this VM publicly. So I'm giving any floating IP right now. The same thing you can do with the help of CLI. Just remember, mouse will never powerful as compared to CLI. So if you know CLI, it's a good thing.
If it is a virtual practice we have, so command lines would work fine. But if you don't have a practice, you need a GUI.
Yeah. GUI is for a non-technical, non-engineer person. If you are an engineer, then you must know the CLI. And I would like to say to my fellow junior members, please learn Linux. Please learn Linux. In your life, in your career, you will definitely see this command prompt. So I must request you to please learn Linux.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so you can even access you can here see the interface, the logs of that VM at the booting time, and the console if you want to access this VM. It's a very small OS. As you can see, it's a test login. Zeros is a username actually, and the password is go cups go. Okay, you can see this. I successfully log in this. How you can check? There is a file in etc directory in Linux, cat os release. So its name is a build root. It's a small OS. That means zeros. That's it for the demo purpose. If you have any doubts, please let me know. I will share. Yeah, another thing, you can create manually everything. You can create your own image. You can create your key pair is used for if you want to access your instant, but without passwordless SSH. Then the key pair is required. That means login to SSH, but you don't want to type password every time. Then you can configure the key pair also. And volume, as I said, block storage, object storage, and ephemeral storage. You can attach volume to your instance. I will show you this example also. If you go, you can see here attach interface, detach interface, edit instance, attach volume. Okay, so currently I don't have any volume. That means I have to create first volume, then I can attach the volume to my instance.
So for this, how we can handle memory for these instances?
So it's like it's a virtual memory, as you can see. It's showing a 50 GB of RAM. It's showing a 20 virtual CPU.
Okay. It is dynamically extendable. You can we extend?
Yeah, definitely. If you basically OpenStack deployed on a bare metal system, if you deploy on, I'm deploying in virtual machine, so
Okay.
that's why there is a limitation. And if I just give me 1 second, if I go here and if I increase my hard disk size, it will
Okay.
definitely reflect there also.
Yes.
That's is the thing.
Now, how we can exactly manage networking in OpenStack?
So for managing network, there is a separate service. As I said, Neutron is a service. By
Okay.
default, these three networking is already deployed: public, private, and shared. And
Okay.
these are by default deployed. You can add here. You can create your own network. Suppose Sinhagad wants its own network. That means आपण हा प्रिन्सिपल यूज करू शकतो आपल्या लॅबसाठी. लॅबमध्ये आपण विंडोजसाठी खूप सारे पैसे खर्च करतो. त्यापेक्षा जर आपण असे डेडिकेटली हार्डवेअर परचेस केले आणि त्याच्यावर ओपन स्टॅक डिप्लॉय केलं आणि आपल्या स्टुडंटला जर आपण फक्त SSH आणि युजरचं नाव, प्रत्येक स्टुडंटचं नाव आणि त्याचा पासवर्ड जर दिला तर ते घरी बसून सुद्धा त्यांची असाइनमेंट कम्प्लीट करू शकतात.
Nothing is needed. Thin client.
हा, सो हा अप्रोच आपण ठेवू शकतो. इथून तुम्ही नेटवर्क क्रिएट पण करू शकता. आणि या, even you can deploy your own hypervisor. For this you have to go to the admin project.
Yes, hypervisor is suppose it's manages virtual memories, no? Virtual machines.
Yeah. Virtual machines.
What is the exact role? Hypervisor?
VM create, VM creation, VM termination will take care by the hypervisor. For example, VMware vSphere, we know it's a type 2 hypervisor. We install VMware software on our Windows machine, and then we create virtual machine.
Okay.
We use Oracle VirtualBox. It's like a type 2 hypervisor, but in OpenStack we use just type 1 hypervisor.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. How to deal with the hardware? If the hardware fails, then what shall we do? Can
you will
you show a small demo?
हार्डवेअर साठी मला काहीतरी आता इथे करावं लागेल की रॅम कमी झाली किंवा असं काहीतरी करावं लागेल. बट हा माझा व्हर्च्युअल मशीन मध्ये मी केलेलं आहे. बट तुम्ही लॉक्स बघू शकता व्हर्च्युअल मशीन्स मध्ये जर काही, as you can see here, a log prompt, instant console log. If you face any hardware related issues, the messages are definitely written here, and you can identify it clearly written that OOM, that means out of memory. Because of that, your VM is not spawned.
Okay.
Can you show some codes for creating any service in OpenStack?
Yeah, I will show you some patches also.
Yeah.
Okay, so here are my two patches.
Is it in Linux?
No, it's written in Python. As I say, OpenStack is completely. Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes,
I'm Shraddha Gudge. Yes, sir. I have a question. Why to prefer Linux or other operating system?
Linux is the future. You can't survive Linux without Linux. हे माझ्याकडून तुम्ही लिहून घ्या ब्लँक पेपरवर.
Okay, sir. Okay, definitely, sir. Definitely. So here the second question: what is the difference between Unix and Linux, sir?
The main difference is Unix follows a different approach. Unix uses proprietary protocol. That means Unix never help you on a, suppose in Apple OS, if you face any driver related issue and if you want to see what is the issue, and if you are really curious how the driver works and you raise a ticket to Apple, they will never give you the solution. They say you are owner of your hardware, the software part is up to us. So they will never show you the actual source code. They never show you how things internally works.
Okay, sir. And how are the drives represented in the Linux?
Drives in the sense, I'm not.
Drives means which we created in that means folder and all that things.
So those are the, for this you have to understand the file system architecture.
Okay.
One second, I will show you. I'm opening my patch, but I don't know what's coming. Okay, so as you can see, ls is a basic command. It's a list currently directly contained, and you can see these are blue things. These are the directories. These are the
Okay, sir.
directories, and these are in green. These are the files. It's a regular file, and these are the directories.
Okay.
Oh, sorry,
Okay, sir.
one
And
thing.
here's the last question, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, what is the root account?
root is nothing but a super user. It's the main user which will access your system.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my office VPN is disconnected. That's why I'm not able to open my patch. Just give me 1 second.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah, please, if you have any doubts regarding Linux, how to study Linux, then please ask me. Don't afraid. Please ask me. I'm the right person to guide you because मी जेव्हा लिनक्स शिकायला सुरुवात केली तो एक फनी किस्सा मला आठवतो. मी नक्की सांगेन तुम्हाला की मी लिनक्स कसं शिकायला सुरुवात केली. सो मी सेकंड इयरमध्ये असताना मी काही ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीमच्या आयोस डाउनलोड करायचो आणि ते इन्स्टॉल करायचो. सुरुवात मी केली इन्स्टॉलिंग पासून आणि नंतर मी पुन्हा शिकत गेलो. नंतर मी कमांड शिकलो. नंतर मी बऱ्याच गोष्टी केल्या. सो त्या इन्स्टॉलिंग करता करता मी स्वतःचे लॅपटॉप कितीतरी वेळा फॉर्मॅट केला. मी माझ्या मित्रांच्या मैत्रिणीचा कितीतरी वेळा लॅपटॉप फॉर्मॅट केला. बट इव्हेंच्युअली ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम काम कसं करते हे मला कळालं. सो मला एक आठवतं, माझी एक मैत्रीण आहे सुषमा नावाची, तिच्या लॅपटॉप मी कम्प्लिटली फॉर्मॅट केला होता. बट होपफुली तिचा काही डेटा नव्हता त्यात. सो मी वाचलो.
Okay, sir. Can I ask some questions, sir? One
Yes,
question.
definitely.
Yes. Uh, yes, sir. Can we find how much memory using this Linux while
Yeah.
we are performing?
Yeah. There is a command called free -m in a megabyte, H for human understanding. As you can see, my current system has 7.1 gigabytes total memory. Currently, it is used 5.6 GB and free 236 MB. This is my virtual memory. I will show you my actual machine memory. As you can see, my machine is configured to 32 GB of memory. Currently 12 GB is used and 10 GB is free.
Okay, sir. And can we uninstall the libraries in the Linux?
Libraries you cannot install, but you can uninstall the modules which are currently loading in your kernel.
Okay.
There is a command ls mod. You can see the list of modules are currently installed on my kernel. So these are the modules. I can unload any module at any time, but unloading any module you require a reboot. And if you mistakenly unload something very important module, then your system will not boot it.
Okay, sir. Okay. And here the last question, sir. Can you explain more about CLI? Means
CLI,
it's a long form and
CLI is nothing but a command line interface. That means whatever I have done, it's a GUI. As you can see, I am creating a server with the help of this command. Okay, and the same thing I have completed with the help of GUI. That's the only difference. CLI is nothing but command.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. This is from my side, and thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, most welcome. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, and another thing, how you can file a bug. I will show you.
But Suraj, let us clear what you mean by patch. You have created some patches, no?
Yes. Patch is nothing but in what we do when I was working with OpenStack, we discuss bug. What are the currently bug customer facing in while using OpenStack model? So customer raise a ticket, customer raise a bug on a specific website. We called it as a Bugzilla. They raise a bug, and we understand the bug, and we create some script that will fix that bug.
Okay.
And I'm extremely sorry, my office VPN is not able to connect. That's why I'm not able to show you the patches and how you can file a bug. I will try once again.
Yes.
Okay, so the core component, I think, pretty much clear to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, and OpenStack also have a good documentation available. If you want to contribute, you can just type OpenStack contribution. You will see the first link. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's
not
okay.
opening.
Which exactly GitHub repository we should use for this?
Yeah, you can just go to OpenStack GitHub. That's it. The
OpenStack
first link
GitHub.
will directly provide you the OpenStack source code. The repository is nothing but in DevStack you can see. Okay, I'm going. As you can see, the Cinder is here, the Glance service is here, Horizon is here, Keystone is here, Neutron is here, Nova is here.
Okay.
While the deploying OpenStack, it will first clone all the repositories for Cinder, for Glance, for DevStack, for Keystone, and then it starts compiling one by one.
Yes. Through this, all the services will be enabled.
Yeah. So, is anyone having
Hello, sir.
any
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, sure. Not one. You can ask many questions.
Yes, sir. Can we get the coding of OpenStack, which is in Python?
Yeah, actually, that is the thing not opening here right now. I really want to show you guys, but my office weapon, I don't know what happened, because there is another
Okay,
event
sir.
is also live on my office. Maybe that causing the problem.
Okay. Actually, this is question from Tanvi Deshpande.
Okay.
Sunday,
I'm
madam.
sorry, guys.
From
Okay, ma'am.
NBC.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but next time I will definitely show you.
Yes, we will.
What are the workflow?
We will have one more session. So hands-on will be good even.
Yes. Suraj, Linux OS is having its own scripting language. Can we use this scripting language in OpenStack also?
Yes, scripting is nothing but it's a bash script. You can use, actually every cloud computing is based on Linux. So whatever operation you can perform on your Linux machine, you can definitely perform on a cloud also. Even Microsoft Azure.
Creating FTP service, we have to write some code or script in Linux OS. Can we write such kind of scripting in OpenStack also?
Yes. But you need to create one instance, and inside that instance you can write some script or you can configure the services, FTP, SMTP, Postfix, whatever the services. It's like your mini virtual machine.
Okay.
And one more thing, guys, I would like to say, please learn the container things, because virtual machines are deprecated nowadays. In industry, we use a container, we use Docker, we use Kubernetes. Basically, Kubernetes is a Google project. It's again an open source project, and it's used for orchestration purpose. That means managing the container. The Kubernetes is there. So make sure you read about it in somewhere before going to any interview.
Yes, Suraj, definitely. If we do have any questions, we can take. So we are running out of time, so we can conclude even.
Yeah. I will stop my sharing.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Suraj, for coming here and giving an explanation of how we can contribute on open source. And you have also given the horizon dashboard example also, where we have seen multiple services, object services, networking services, volume services, and Ketone as an identity service. Okay, so if time comes, would like to hear you one more time in a coming days. For time being, right now I'll request Professor B.R. Solanke sir to give a vote of thanks. Solanke sir, over to you.
Yes. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Good evening, one and all. I am Mr. Babruan Solanke, Assistant Professor in CSE Department, Nbnscoe College of Engineering, Solapur. I have been shouldered the responsibility to express vote of thanks for today's webinar. Today, we had a very wonderful session on how to contribute to open source Linux and OpenStack by one of our proud alumnus, Mr. Suraj Patil, Associate Technical Support Engineer in Red Hat Linux. He threw a light on various technologies, tools, and the job opportunity in Red Hat Linux, and enlightened our student with the deeper knowledge on various tools in the Linux, open source Linux and OpenStack technology. He has explained very excellently with the practical demonstration the various types of OpenStack core projects, the OpenStack services such as OpenStack block service, OpenStack object storage service, OpenStack networking service, identity service. He has explained very nicely the OpenStack deployment process. Suraj has also explained very nicely how to deploy our application in OpenStack and how to create the instances in CLI, that is in command line interface. I know when Mr. Suraj was a student in our department, he was found to be very creative student. He is found to be one of the very best techno-savvy student. He started thinking on the Linux operating system, as he said earlier, from second year, and start working on the various types of the services provided in Linux operating system. When he came in final year, first semester, he gave us the demo of his own operating system. He has modified the operating system. Am I right, Suraj? You have given the demonstration in our HOD cabin.
Yes, sir. Yes.
In finally, the command line interface that is developed by you. Okay. So we're really proud of you, Suraj. Truly speaking, Mr. Suraj, the alumni like you are the real asset of our department, and institute ultimately. So once again, I thank you to Mr. Suraj for giving such a very wonderful and very effective, informative session on Red Hat Linux and OpenStack technologies. I hope our student will get the benefit of this wonderful knowledge and the skills shared by Mr. Suraj. Now, I would like to express my sincere thanks to our management and Honorable Principal Dr. S.D. Nole Patil sir for guiding us and giving us an opportunity to organize such a webinar series. I also would like to extend my sincere thanks to our beloved Honorable HOD Professor Amol Patak sir for his extraordinary support for this student-centric initiative. Mr. Patak sir always motivate us to organize such a student-centric activities so that students will get the benefit of these activities. I also thanks to our coordinator of this alumni webinar series, Professor Vinayak Kottigar sir, for his great effort for the smooth conduction of such webinar series. I also thanks his entire team, Mr. Phule sir, Nale sir in our CSE department, who have also worked a lot for giving the technical support in this webinar series. I also thanks all my faculty friends who have promoted a lot and worked directly or indirectly for organizing this webinar series. As we know that the CSE department is one of the best healthy department in our Sinhagad Institute. We all are working very nicely, very friendly in our CSE department for the future of our students. Last but not the least, I would also like to thanks to our dearest students who have actively, enthusiastically participated in this webinar series and asked a very nice questions and got very nice, wonderful answers from Mr. Suraj, who is the speaker of this today's webinar. Finally, with the permission of the key speaker, coordinator, and honorable HOD, I would like to call it a day. Have a nice time ahead. Once again, I thank you very much for giving me an opportunity for expressing my vote of thanks. Now, I hand over to Professor Kottigar sir to conclude the to give the final remark to conclude this session and about tomorrow's webinar session. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Solanki sir, for the wonderful vote of thanks. Now,
Thank you, sir.
for our viewers, I would like to remind you that don't forget to join us tomorrow on 13th August 2020, where we have one more bright alumni who is interacting with us tomorrow, Amay Utpat, and he will be talking about machine learning and data science field. So don't forget to join us tomorrow. Until that time, good night. I'll take your leave. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir and ma'am.
Don't
Thank
leave, leave Suraj. Just a minute.
Yeah.